You're still watching NTV Sport Nights this Labor Day. Thank you for your company. Speaking of company, we have a gentleman in the studio joining us whose name is Company. Arthur Company here is the founding president of Eagles Rugby Club. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Joining him is co-founder Edmond Tumusime, the co-founder and coach Eagles Rugby Club. Welcome.
Thank you
Happy
very much.
Labor Day, gentlemen.
Happy Labor Day to you too.
Clearly, you have labored a lot in starting a club. What were you thinking? What are you still thinking, knowing the state of sport in Uganda?
Okay, now later.
If we start with what were we thinking before we started?
Yes.
Yeah.
We actually thought of the much talent that, for instance, like they finish senior 6 and talent normally dies out.
Yes.
So me and my friend came together and we said, what do we do for these boys who have given up on what? On the sport. So when they finish senior 6, they have somewhere they can fall. So I asked him and he's like, first, we shall need a pitch. Second, of course, finances. Then after that, you need the players. Because without the finances, you can't fund the players. And without the finances, you still can't fund the pitch maintenance. So if you're ready for that, he told me he's happy to join me. But the other thing, since we both have partners, we have to speak to partners so that we can agree. So we
partners, I'm assuming company, because in this day and age you may say you have partners, and Isma was saying before we got on air that at campus he was a rich student. So I'm thinking in this day and age, is it the rich female partners or the rich partners?
You believe in me too much.
You're my boss. So who are these partners that maybe I can also get a partner?
Okay.
And
partners are like the wives at home.
Ah,
yes.
So they're the ones bankrolling you?
No, they need to agree because it's a cash intensive project.
Yeah.
So you get money from home to put into a club?
Our money. Because now if you get your money and invest, before you get a sponsor, you need to show that you know what, this is how far we've come. So you need to inject in something first.
The little money that
here
you would
and
have
there.
spent in a bar, you understand?
Isma doesn't drink, so clear.
Oh no. You know, there are so many things, you know.
I have very many other life exercises.
Yes, exactly. So actually we found out that we actually don't go out.
Yes.
He doesn't go out, I don't go out much, I'm an introvert. So there's a lot of money on the side, right, that we save.
Spare money.
That we are able to, you know, to say, okay, let's divert that little. And then slowly we started getting other people coming on board to help us out.
People who believed in what we're doing.
But one of the things, and Edmond will speak for himself at some point, company, like I was learning, where do you get this interest in rugby? Because I've been around the game for a large part of 20 years.
Yes.
And I've not seen you around the game. I'm a bit like furniture. Yeah?
Who, me?
Yeah, I'm a bit like furniture, and
he knows.
I haven't seen you around the game. Where do you gain the interest? Why rugby?
You know him.
Yes, I do.
But as a senior in school,
okay.
You ask anybody about other company, they will tell you who other company is.
Yeah. You played?
I played, yes.
Yeah, and then
and then I traveled out of the country.
Okay.
So because of the size that I didn't have, I couldn't push it to.
Yeah.
I was quite quick, but I was small. I couldn't make the kilograms they wanted. I couldn't put on that size. Okay. They wanted me for a winger to be at least 90 kilograms.
Oh.
I couldn't make 70.
Yeah.
So that's how London Irish cut me out.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, wonderful.
That far.
Wonderful story.
So
Edmond, we used to calling you Edu.
Yeah.
So where do you get these players? I seen in some of those pictures.
Yeah.
What's that, first of all? Where is that?
Well, that is at Chitante Primary School.
Yeah.
Perhaps what many people didn't know is that on top of running a rugby club, we also have a charity program.
Okay.
Right, that we are running at Chitante. So basically what we're doing is giving back to the whole community of Chitante, because they have been so wonderful to us. Without Chitante Primary School, Eagles would not have existed. So we have programs, for example, of collecting school fees, you know, for the needy children at the school.
Yeah.
And that photo, for example, is when we were meeting the headmistress. We had just endorsed some sponsorship for some of the students. So yeah, so we were basically launching the program.
Is this where you get all the children who are playing? Is it Chitante Primary School only? Where do you get all these children?
So basically, that part of Chitante Primary School is something that I explained to him that, you know, when you're, because just a backstory, you know me from being a Cobs player, right?
Yeah.
And a Cobs maybe veteran, and Uganda as well. But I think I've gone through so many levels, right? I've gone through school, Namilyango. I was playing rugby. I've gone through Cobs, box. In fact, I think, the first person to join the national team while playing for box.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been to box, which is the second club for Cobs, the junior club. Then obviously Cobs, which is my family, really, right? And then national team as well. But in fact, you should have asked me what drove me to Eagles, right?
Yeah.
I'll just say
because I've seen you coach Cobs previously as an assistant coach.
Correct.
Then you disappear for some years.
And interim coach as well.
Yeah, and interim coach, and you disappear for some years. And then we've had stories. You've told me about how rugby players go and choose digging.
Yeah.
So I thought you had gone to dig somewhere in Western Uganda on your hill, because each one of you has a hill which they own. Yeah. Then you show up with Eagles. And I'm thinking, this man is supposed to be selling us milk.
Catch me if you can.
So why Eagles? Why Eagles?
Yeah, so like I said, I've been through very different levels of rugby here in Uganda. And the one passion that I have, and the people who are close to me, I think he knows that, and a lot of my friends who are playing with the national team and Cobs know, I love grassroots. Yeah. Okay, that's why I coached box. Okay, at some point I coached Milyango, and I actually went to Kitgum rugby, Kitgum, the district, and organized a team of a school select, right, that was able to participate in a Coronations Cup Sevens in 2018, right? I was able to look for some funding there for these guys to come, because I felt like, for me, grassroots is the most important thing in sport, you understand? We all came from almost nothing, you understand, when we were playing. As much as you are saying I was a rich student, I wasn't. People might start asking for money from me, but no, I wasn't. But at least I know I had the ethic. So basically, like I said, one example is Kitgum. I had a plan, right? It was a personal plan. I wanted to be part of the program that the Kitgum rugby had, right, which is fantastic. They have all the structures, but as you can imagine, in this country, you know, the funding for sport is not really there. So it's not that I've given up on that as well. I'm hoping one day, you know, we have some funding for them as well, that we can go and join. And not just them, also the other regions in the east, the west, and everywhere else, right? So me, I'm a strong believer in grassroots. So when he came to me with the idea, it was very easy. I was like, okay, let's see. Can we start something from scratch, you understand, and build it slowly, okay? The plan was to have this in, even where we are right now, we are qualifying, we've qualified for playoffs. We won the Central League.
Region,
Central Region League, which is incredible, because for us, our target wasn't that. Our target was, in maybe 4 years, we are winning the Central League. But when you have good systems and structures, right, you will always get there eventually. So my passion for getting into Eagles was basically grassroots, start something from scratch, look for the players, as he said, that have left the sport. They come from Budos, Marcos, I don't know where. Then they go and start drinking, they go and start impregnating, they go and start so we say, no, look, we need to get these guys back in the sport, because nobody's, you know, these top clubs, what they do, they look for this one, look for this one, look for this one, and then they say the rest, you don't fit in our system. So those are the guys we started with, by the way. Those are the guys we started with, and you can see that the talent was already there.
You know, at a professional level, some years back, Sky Sports did a story about the success rate of players coming out of academies in England. And that was triggered by a story about a youngster out of Manchester City who played through the youth system and couldn't get into the first team, was dropped at the point where they were signing contracts for players at under 18, and he committed suicide.
Really?
Because he couldn't. He had nothing else to do. So the past week, when you bring that out, the past week has been a very, for me, the biggest story perhaps in British football. Forget the elephant coming down with its chips and and everything. Trent Alexander-Arnold launched a foundation to help players who do not make it out of academies. Because there's about 500 kids in academies in the Premier League every single year. And Trent Alexander-Arnold is of the idea that while they not make it to Liverpool and City and Chelsea and Arsenal and Brighton and all these teams, what else can they do? So he says they come together as footballers and then sponsor them to go and do an education and create careers elsewhere. Now, when I saw that story in the week, I thought, okay, this is huge. Then yesterday as I watched the Liverpool-Tottenham game, I noticed that actually the Liverpool team had only 2 academy players, Trent Alexander-Arnold and Curtis Jones. And that says a lot. Perhaps in the Man City squad, there's only Phil Foden and no one else. And City perhaps have 100 kids growing up to play. So sometimes when I see these stories about how you divert these kids not to lose, because we might all grow up, you people who go into Namiliango are all hoping to play for Cobs one day, because Edmond played, because Tony Ruja played, because Timothy Mudola played, because Adrian Buke, and then you do not make it there. Then the next thing is despair. I think that's how that's how some careers, then you meet someone and you're thinking their life has got to be better than this. So that diversion for me is very important. And by the way,
if you are playing seriously, you know, competing seriously in rugby, right? There are things you're not going to do. You know you have to train 3-4 times a week, and you have to play every Saturday when the league is on or when the competitions are on.
It's a very physical
You're
sport.
not going to go out and drink yourself silly. You understand? Even when you're on campus, you will have some moderation, right? For example, I never tested alcohol until I finished campus because of rugby.
Arthur, you're burning to say something.
What you spoke about, the talent that dies out. We normally, there we get our players, we ask these boys, do you know any player you went with at school, but you know he's got that skill that is excellent, but he's doing nothing? We make the phone call. Ask the boy, what are you doing of late? I gave up on that sport. Why? He gives us the reasons. Then we tell him, come give it 2 training sessions. If you don't like it, please, you're good to go. So that's how we did scout any player from any club, that because we're desperate to go up. No, because normally when you start up a club, you start looking at poaching from other clubs.
We didn't even have the money to do that.
We didn't even have the money to buy,
even if we wanted to.
This club has been built on trust and structures.
And now, since you've progressed, is there any chance of having a female eagle or something? What are female eagles called?
It's like I've said, for us we feel like we've covered the schools because we have an academy. We have an academy at Chitante, right? Chitante has over 4,000 children, right? 4,000 kids. And then we started the academy last year.
If it's not even rugby, they should be doing something.
They should be doing something extracurricular. So we are trying to integrate as many as we can, okay? But the club we have now, Eagles, which is Rugby. Second division, hopefully go to the top division. Then we need to have the women. In fact, in the academy, it's both boys and girls, because we want to build also a women's team.
Wonderful. One of the things that maybe some viewers may not know, Edmond here speaks with a lot of humility, but a bit of force. That's the kind of player he was. He's perhaps the best fly half this country has ever produced.
No, I disagree.
One of the best number 10. No, Edmond, you do not have. You reserve your right not to speak.
Let me tell you.
You cannot judge.
You cannot judge yourself, because for some of us who watched him in the time when Uganda first won the Elgon Cup back in 2006, when it was the in thing. Of course, these days Kenya do not like it much. And then won an African title with Uganda back in 2007. Was part of several conquering teams at Cobs. Many people who have been around the game as long as I have will argue that Edmond here is one of the best number 10s Uganda has produced. of course, someone will always throw in Victor Kalimugogo in there, who played before him. For the young ones, they might even throw in Ivan Magomo. These days, when I see him struggle a bit with his knees, I only wish this is 10 years ago, because the weight of the game and the miles he's put in has gotten to him. You see, slow down significantly. So this last week, someone shared a video on Twitter of Ivan Magomo in the younger Magomo in a very old white Pirates jersey, dancing through defenses. I'm descriptive, like
exactly.
Edward, you're burning to respond to that.
To be honest, I think I was overrated.
Yeah.
You know why? Let me tell you why.
Indeed.
No, it's not humility. Let me tell you why. Because when I joined Cobs and subsequently the national team, the players that were in those teams, right? My teammates were quite incredible. I think anybody would have flourished with the teammates. If you look at the Stones, the Timos, you look at the pack that Cobs and the national team had were incredible. The Fred Mudolas, the Adigases, the Kenneth Kabaruka, the Adrian Bukenya, the Let Sogi, basically
Matthias,
the Mubirus. Honestly, if you have a pack with that attitude and passion, I think it will be easy
you
for
get
you.
Clean ball.
Yes. So that's why I think I was overrated, because I look at the guys who are playing now, like you talked about the Magomos, there is Joseph Haredo, there is even James Sijongat at the time, there is at least those that I've seen playing for a long time. I think skill-wise they are better than I was. Honestly, I do. Maybe the difference is in, and for me, the greats I talk about Kalimugogo, Victor Kalimugogo, I talk about Yairo Kasasa, right? Nathan Wasolo, okay? These are guys who are much older than us, so it's easy for us to say, okay, now, Edmond, but these guys were good. These were my role models, you understand? So I think that topic of saying, you
the
are
greatest number.
No, it isn't. I think I was overrated, and it's not having humility. I just think I was lucky. Two, the only thing perhaps you could argue is I hate losing, right? That's the one thing that I have. I hate losing, and perhaps the drive to always win is what made me stand out, right? And be part of winning teams.
That's what I want to see. Edmond translate to and for me, start winning on the rugby pitch as you guys finish.
Yes, as you conclude your fight.
The other thing that he hasn't said, the reason why we're able to do what we're doing, apart from all that hype that he's a very, very trustworthy person. Whatever he's telling you is true. Trust whatever he's telling you. That's why we've been able to push this thing without a problem. That commitment.
Maybe my conclusion is that we sit on these panels and sometimes we have a lot of new people that we haven't known. I know Tumusime for the past 19, 20 years. I think the one thing that stands out is that when Edu promised to do something or to find or to get you a ticket to a game, because when we were young, one of our burdens was to get a ticket to watch a game. You knew he would find a way. That's why we call him a rich friend. How were you able to pay 5,000 in 2005, 18 years ago? 5K was a lot of money.
No, they used to pay us money when we were playing international games and
so you get off that and buy us
tickets? Yes, you are my good friend.
5K.
Okay, we're about to end it here, but what are your final words?
My final words to the people who are running. I'll speak about, like I said, grassroots. We need support, okay, for the grassroots, the north, the east, central, as we obviously we've talked about, and the west as well. Okay, we need support here. It's easy to say no. Let the sponsors give you the support, but sponsors, we need you to come into this sport. Okay, we need to come into this sport because sport is bigger than what you think. Some of us have careers, other careers on the side. Okay, the main careers, but we definitely need you guys to come in so we are able to have a change and achieve for our country, because we're doing this for Eagles, we're doing this for Heathens, Cobs and what, but at the end of the day, we're doing this for Uganda.
Yes. Arthur, your final words.
My final words, I think Edmond has said it all, because he's more into the rugby side, me I'm into the administration.
Yeah.
But I just want to thank everybody who has been part of us, and the major companies, the Shoes and Bags Clinic and Chint. Those two companies have played a big part in our progress. But most importantly, the players who put their bodies on the line to make sure that Eagles Rugby is up there. That's the most important thing. And Chitante, that accommodates us, of course. Yeah. Without Chitante, there is no Eagles.
Okay, thank you very much, and all the best. Would love to have you back after a while to see how far you have gone.
I think you will. I think you will.
Okay.
I think you will.
We'll be taking a short break, but don't go anywhere. NTV